Hey everyone! Before today's episode, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to today's patron, Austin Betts.
We had gotten a little sidetracked in New Orleans with Leon the Lougarou, but we were back on course. At this point, we had just crossed the line into Oklahoma. It was finally time to meet Annie.
Jeez.
What?
I haven't seen you this excited since you read about the Mothman in Grandpa's journal.
That obvious, huh?
Just a little bit. Yeah. You nervous?
No. Kind of. Should I be?
Just be yourself, man. You've got nothing to worry about.
Once we drove into Lawton, I gave Annie a call to tell her we were about 5 minutes away. We finally drove up to her house, and she was already waiting outside.
Well, if it isn't Lucas Campbell in the flesh.
Hi! It's... wow. It's so great to finally meet you.
A handshake? What are you, my uncle? No. Bring it in.
Hi there!
You two, get over here.
I can't believe we're here.
It's about time. I was worried you'd come across another monster before you got here. And Fritz, oh my goodness, you're even cuter than Mia's drawing. You guys must be starving. How about dinner?
Oh, no, you don't have to.
I insist. It's already cooking.
Well, how could we say no to that? Annie invited us inside. We just sat and talked for a bit while dinner was cooking. Where's Winnie?
Winnie?
My cat.
Aw, I didn't know you had a cat.
I left her in my bedroom for now, until her and Fritz have had a chance to get properly acquainted with one another.
Ah, smart.
So, Annie, I'd love to get to know you better. Lucas has been so secretive.
What? No, I haven't.
Well, there's not much interesting to say about me. I went to Cameron for a communications degree. Just graduated. I like cats. Old sci-fi movies. Obviously, the paranormal. There's not much else. I mean, Lawton's pretty boring. Fort Sill is right outside of town, but that's about it. Should I just... Do you want to see my powers?
I thought we could save business for tomorrow, seeing as how we just got here. There's no rush.
Yeah, of course. A relaxing evening suits me just fine.
Annie offered to let us stay at her apartment while we were in town. So after dinner, we talked for a while longer and then went to bed. The next morning, Annie made pancakes. Once we were done eating, it was finally time for business. Before getting started, we introduced Fritz to Winnie, a young black cat.
Winnie, play nice.
I think it's safe to say they like each other.
Aww.
All right. Well, now that the time has come, I feel a little self-conscious. I thought telling you I had powers first would make me less nervous.
Hey, don't sweat it. We're obviously not going to judge you or anything. Take your time.
Thanks. Okay, yeah, my powers. So what you need to know, first of all, is I am a Wiccan.
Oh, okay.
You mean like a witch?
That's a real loaded term. But yeah, basically, that's why I wear this.
At this point, Annie pulled on her necklace to reveal the silver pendant that had been hanging underneath her shirt. It was a small 5-pointed star surrounded by a circle. A pentagram?
Close. A pentacle. It represents the elements.
Wicca's more of a religion, though, right?
Yeah, that's one word for it. I believe in the power of nature, the energies all around us. I do worship a god and a goddess, but I don't really believe in them, literally. And it's not like Wiccans follow one set of rules, like the Bible or anything. It's different for everyone. But, yeah. Ever since I was a kid, I've been fascinated by Wicca. Once I learned more about it, I started playing around with the spells, candles, crystals, herbs, that sort of thing. When I was 14, my powers actually manifested. And you can imagine my surprise. It was like expecting an owl to show up after reading Harry Potter. Yeah, would have been awesome, but I wasn't actually expecting it.
Wow. 14? Your powers showed up so much earlier than mine.
Well, I was actively trying to cast spells. You didn't even believe in monsters or magic or any of that stuff until a few years ago, right?
Right.
Hard to unlock a box you don't even know about.
Huh. Fair point.
That's when I started getting interested in cryptids, too. I mean, if magic was real, what else was out there?
So then are your powers like Mia's?
Well, yes and no. See, Winnie here is my familiar.
You're familiar?
Yep. A little cliche, I know. A witch with a black cat, but what can I say? I love her.
Sorry. What?
They're like helpers, right?
Yeah, it's an animal that you develop a connection with. Like you and Fritz.
Wait, what? I'm not a witch.
Witch, psychic, monster. They're just different words for the unexplained. You can call it whatever you want, but the experiences are the same. We don't talk exactly, but we understand each other. Winnie, come here. Okay, walk in a circle around Mia.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
Now sit in Lucas's lap.
Hey there.
Okay, I'm impressed.
That's not all.
There's more? From her pocket, Annie took out a small piece of crystal and placed it on the table in front of us.
This is my quartz.
Okay.
Just watch.
She stared at it for a moment in silence. Finally, it began to slowly rise from the table. First an inch, then 2, and it continued until it was floating almost a foot off the surface of the table. It hung there for a moment, spinning lazily like an object in zero gravity, before abruptly falling back to the table. Oh my god! No way! You have telekinesis!
A little bit, yeah.
Do you get nosebleeds too?
Thankfully not.
Wow. That's incredible.
Thanks.
Is that the only thing you can, manipulate?
No, I just find that it helps. It's sort of like a focus.
Wow. What else can you do?
Sorry, that's it.
No, that's amazing. Does anyone else know?
Just a few people online, other Wiccans.
We took a break for lunch while Mia worked out what kind of tests she wanted to conduct. She ended up running out to the store for about 20 minutes to pick up some supplies. And once she returned, we got to work. Test 1, control.
I thought we would start with the telekinesis.
Okay.
So, first off, I was wondering what kind of fine control you had. Multiple objects, precision, things like that.
I have tried moving multiple objects before, but no luck. Just one at a time.
Okay, that's fine. How about precision? How much control over the movement do you have? Is it just an up and down sort of thing?
No, I have pretty good control.
Okay, cool. So, I thought we could use this peanut butter. I'm gonna put the lid here. Now, I want to see if you can move the lid between these cups, like a slalom, and then screw the lid back onto the jar. Think you can handle that?
I can try.
On one end of the table was an open jar of peanut butter. At the other end was the lid, and spaced between them at 6-inch intervals were a row of drinking glasses. We watched as Annie began to focus, holding her crystal in one hand. And sure enough, the lid began to rise. After reaching the height of the peanut butter jar, it began moving forward at an angle. It went around one cup, then the next, and soon it was on the other side of the table. The lid oriented itself in the right direction and moved over the top of the jar. It lowered down and then turned, slowly closing itself onto the jar. Not too tightly, but still impressive. Test 2, strength.
Okay, I got some weights and a scale. I thought we could measure how much you can lift. Now, since you can only move one object at a time, I thought we'd stack them on this plate, and you just focus on lifting the plate. Sound fair?
Yeah, let's do it.
To start off, Mia had Annie raise a dinner plate about 6 inches into the air and then lower it back down. Then she added a weight and had Annie try again. They continued this over and over until finally the plate was too heavy for Annie to lift with her powers.
You got almost 4 pounds. Not bad.
Thanks. I've been practicing. What I'd really love to do someday is lift myself.
Oh my god, then you'd be able to fly!
Yeah, well, this is only 4 pounds. I'm still a long ways off from that.
How far away can you move an object from?
You know, I've never actually thought about that. I usually just sit right in front of whatever I'm practicing with.
Test 3. Distance.
Okay, this one is pretty simple. We're just gonna have you lift the quartz, then you'll move back and try again, and repeat.
I think my place is a little small for that.
Do you have somewhere better in mind?
As a matter of fact, I do.
We drove a short distance away to a large parking lot that sat in front of a vacant retail space. It felt weird doing this out in the open, but the crystal was pretty small. It's not like anyone driving by would get a good look at it floating off the ground. So the tests began, with Annie moving back 3 feet after each successful lift. Once she was about 30 feet away, Mia started moving her back in 10-foot increments, and this kept going until she was a little more than 150 feet away, at which point she was finally unable to raise the crystal. Mia did a few more tests after that and found that the 4-pound weight limit decreased with distance as well. Once that was done, we returned to Annie's home for dinner. That was it for telekinesis, and we decided to save the other tests for the next day. Once again, we got started after breakfast.
Alright, telepathy. I thought we would start small.
Okay.
Have you seen Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Then these should look familiar. They're called Zener cards. Well, I made my own with index cards and Sharpies, but you get the idea. We're gonna take turns looking at the cards and then see if we can figure out which card the other person is looking at.
Got it.
Mia and Annie both took a moment to focus and then began the test. The index cards in front of them were made up of 5 different symbols: a circle, a square, a star, a cross, and some wavy lines. On each card was one of these symbols, drawn in one of 5 colors: red, yellow, blue, green, or black. Mia went first, drawing cards and looking at them. I sat with a notebook to record the results. Out of 25 cards, Annie correctly guessed the shape and color of 22 of them. Additionally, she got the right shapes on 2 more of them. With the first card, it had taken a few minutes until Annie felt confident in giving an answer, but that time decreased as the test continued. Once that was done, their roles reversed. Annie drew cards, and Mia tried to guess them. Mia was less successful. She guessed 19 of the colors correctly, but had trouble identifying the shapes.
Wait, I have an idea.
What?
So, you're getting most of the colors right, and you're good at sensing emotions. I think that's why you're having trouble getting the shapes. I think, in general, we're better at picking up some kinds of information compared to others.
That is possible.
And I haven't been helping either.
Helping?
Well, I've just been sitting here looking at the cards. But let's try again. I'll actively try to send you the information. Maybe then you'll have a better time figuring it out.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's give it a shot.
So, they repeated the test, with Annie drawing cards and Mia guessing. This time, she guessed all 25 correctly, color and shape.
Wow. Yeah, it was much easier to sense your cards that time. If we're both using our powers, I'd say it's time for a challenge.
Like what?
Communication without talking.
Like the melon heads? You think we could do that?
I think we can try.
At this point, things got pretty boring for me, as Mia and Annie began attempting to transmit ideas without actually speaking. So I sat in silence, watching Annie and Mia stare at each other, and Fritz and Winnie running around the house, for the better part of 2 hours. Occasionally, they would write down some words on a sheet of paper and pass it back and forth, but that was it. Finally, though, they called it a day. Well, did it work?
Sort of.
We started with simple words and images and built from there. We were able to communicate some short phrases, but nothing too complex.
Well, that's still pretty impressive. You're practically on your way to becoming a melonhead.
Not funny.
We all knew we couldn't stay at Annie's indefinitely, so after spending another day just hanging out, we decided it was time to get back on the road.
So, are you gonna ask her out or not?
Don't rush me.
Dude, we're leaving in the morning. It's now or never.
That's not true. We still have email and Skype.
Ugh, no. That is so lame. You have to do it in person.
Are you sure?
Yes. Don't be such a baby.
The next morning, we ate breakfast, packed our bags, and prepared to leave. This has been seriously great. I'm so glad we finally got to meet face to face.
It's been my pleasure.
Oh, I forgot to get something. I'll be outside. Lucas.
What was that about?
Oh, she can just be, weird and stuff.
Right.
So... Okay, listen. I've had so much fun here. You're really cool. I mean, you're into the supernatural, and you're really nice, and you've got powers for crying out loud. What I'm trying to say is, I know I'm on the road a lot, so I don't know if this is even something you'd be interested in, but I thought maybe you and we could maybe...
I would love to go out with you.
Did you just read my mind?
No, silly. I like you too.
And you don't mind the distance?
Hasn't bothered me yet.
I wasn't entirely sure where we'd be going next, but I had a feeling we'd be back in Oklahoma before long.
Field notes. I guess these aren't the usual field notes, but we did do some research. So of course, the most exciting thing was Annie's telekinesis. I have no idea how it works, scientifically speaking, but that's nothing new. Her bond with Winnie is pretty similar to how Fritz and I can communicate, but calling her familiar got me thinking. Are witches real? Not literally in the brewing potions and riding a broomstick sort of way, but most cultures do have myths of one kind or another about people with magical abilities. Are all these legends based on people with powers, like me and Annie? I've always assumed powers like this were rare, but considering how widespread and how far back some of these legends go, maybe there's a lot more of us out there than I realized. End field notes.
The Cryptid Cases has been a production of Little Giant Monsters.
You can follow us by searching Little Giant Monsters on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to keep up to date with everything we're working on. We even post a sketch of the latest Cryptid every Monday after a new episode.
You can also visit our website, littlegiantmonsters.com, to see all of our content in one place.
While you're there, want our designs on stickers, t-shirts, coffee mugs, and more? We now have merch. Just look for the merchandise link on our website.
If you really like what we're doing and want to see us do more, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Rewards include behind-the-scenes content, bonus material, and more. Search Little Giant Monsters on Patreon or find a link on our website.
You can also help us by leaving a rating and review on iTunes. Not only does each review warm our cold, cynical hearts, but it helps us move up the charts and bring the show to a wider audience.
Your continued support means so much to us. Thanks for listening and see you again soon.